This is Proclaim, 30 minutes of news and information from around the Diocese of Altoona-Johnstown, and the Proclaim TV Mass live from St. John Galbert Cathedral in Johnstown at 11 a.m. Proclaim is brought to you by the Independent Catholic Foundation, UPMC Altoona, and the generous support of the Catholic Ministries Drive.
They call us, the St. Benedict people, and we also have people from other parishes, by the way, not just St. Benedict, and even other dioceses that contribute to this. We are their angels, because to keep their daughter alive, they sold everything, right down to pots and pans, forks and knives, everything.
Putting the Catholic faith into action. See how the local faithful are spreading the gospel around the world. And a new feature highlighting the talent of our parish organists and the beauty of our churches. Good morning and welcome to Proclaim for Sunday, January 18th, 2026. I'm Tony DeGaulle. More on those stories in a moment. But first, celebrating the gift of life in a parish faith community. The 39th annual Respect Life March is about to get underway at St. Matthew Parish in Tyrone. The faithful will gather at the church at noon today for a short prayer service and then a 1.25-mile walk to Oak Grove Cemetery and the grave of baby Agnes Doe. A short prayer service will occur at the gravesite. This is video from last year's gathering. Sponsored by the Knights of Columbus St. Gregory Council at St. Matthew Parish, the Respect Life March began after the remains of an unidentified child were found in the Bellwood area of Blair County in 1987. When authorities completed their investigation, the Knights adopted the baby, gave her the name Baby Agnes Doe, and provided a funeral mass and proper burial. Pro-life individuals have gathered every year since then. Two of the organizers tell us why this tradition is so important.
Our St. Gregory Council, we organize the Respect Life March every year. Our march is the Sunday before the National March in D.C., and we think it's very important that we provide a local opportunity for our parish and neighboring parishes, or anyone who's aware of it, to come together, to pray, to witness that they respect life and the dignity for life at all stages. And the inspiration for our march would be baby Agnes Doe, of course, and her short but small life, was meaningful because all of this has evolved from this first year where we were able to provide a Christian burial for baby Agnes.
To me, it's more about an awareness thing. I mean, we continue to do this to bring people aware that, number one, that this tragedy happened, just this very unfortunate circumstances where, a life was lost, And so it's to bring people aware, to continue that awareness, and also the awareness, that mother felt, had, for whatever reason, couldn't take care of that baby. And we don't know any of the circumstances, any of that. So I think to me, a lot of it is, making people aware that there's services out there. There's things out there for these young women, any expecting woman, that there's services out there to help them through this, whether it's unwanted pregnancy or unexpected pregnancy, that kind of thing. That, we have Precious Life down here in Altoona, the Gabriel Project. Up in Tyrone, we have Every Life Matters, ELM. And these agencies are there to help these young ladies, through these difficult circumstances where they might be, worried, confused, just looking for answers. And they might not have the support network they have, that other families may have at home. And they can go to these agencies, and the ladies there are great. They're going to help take care of them. They're going to be non-judgmental. They're going to be, everything's kept confidential. That they can help these people get through this.
And again, the Respect Life March will begin at noon today at St. Matthew Parish in Tyrone. After the prayer service at the cemetery, a hot lunch will be served back at the parish. As folks gather today in Tyrone and as we look ahead to the National March for Life in Washington, D.C. this Friday, we pray for the safety of everyone participating, and we remember all of the precious lives lost to abortion. Well, this morning, I'm at St. Benedict Parish in Johnstown, which, along with the permanent diaconate community of the Diocese of Altoona-Johnstown, is leading a truly remarkable outreach to help people in other parts of the world. Deacon Michael Russo is in diaconal service here at St. Benedict, and he's the diocesan director of the permanent diaconate. I visited with him earlier for an update on how local Catholics here in Altoona-Johnstown are making a huge difference around the globe. Hi, Deacon Russo. Happy New Year.
Thank you, Tony. Happy New Year to you too. 2026
is off to a good start for you.
So far.
I'm sure it's going to be a busy year for you, because I've never known you to not have a busy year because you're involved in so many things. And one of the most impressive, as I said, this outreach that's been going on for a number of years now in our diocesan church. It really was all born through the pandemic and the web presence that this parish had, and it opened up doors to people in other countries who discovered this parish and the Mass that you were posting and your ministry. And through that, you formed such valuable connections with people all over the world, people who really needed our help. And you saw that, and you saw an opportunity to step up and help. We've talked about this on the show before, but so much is happening constantly. I thought it'd be a good time for you to give an update. So just very briefly, tell us about your foreign ministry outreach, and then most importantly, tell us what's new since we've talked to you the last time.
Right. As you said, this started during the pandemic, but actually pre-pandemic. We started to get phone call, emails for rosaries.
Yeah.
It started as a rosary ministry.
Yeah.
As of today, we've distributed over 300,000 rosaries worldwide.
I mean, that's phenomenal.
Which is just shocking.
You know, I thought you were going to say 3,000, and it's 300,000.
300,000 rosaries worldwide. And the priests from the foreign countries, Nigeria, Uganda, India, Pakistan, they report that their church attendance has gone up 30 and 40%.
Really nice.
You know, with this.
Yeah.
So that's how it started.
Yeah.
And then we received some contacts with, they had physical problems. They needed medicine. Mm-hmm. They needed food. And the diaconate rallied around and came together, and we started raising funds to how can we possibly help these people and it wasn't COVID related, it was just things from the country. We plugged in very, very strongly to Pakistan, where we saw the most Christian persecution, the most need for basic needs, food, medicine, clothing, children, for the children. And we have a contact there, Father Khalil Maksud, who I probably talk with him at least 4 times a week at night.
He's like family to you.
He's like family. As a matter of fact, his bishop wrote to Bishop Mark to get permission for Father to come here for a couple of months and even work in our parishes, but thank the people for their participation and support. So we're working on that right now.
That's great.
But going back, what happened there, he contacted me, and we started again with school projects. The children needed some things for school. When I looked at the school, their school was out in the dirt, and he wanted desks so they didn't have to sit in the dirt. So we raised funds, and
I mean, think about that for a moment. You know, we take every aspect of our lives for granted, and from where we're sitting, there's a wonderful school right a block away here, Bishop McCord Elementary School, and we walk in and we see all the modern conveniences, and then you hear about this, and it really gives you pause.
It does, because the shocker was, if we needed desks, we'd go to IKEA, we'd go wherever. There's this little guy in Pakistan in his garage that handmade the desks. And they started sending me pictures of him in the forest with Father, cutting down trees. And he made these desks by hand and brought them over to the school. Yeah. So we did that, and that was really great. And we noticed there, that they sent us a picture with a thank you. And one of the little girls had a problem with her eye. And one of our parishioners spotted it and said, you know, I think that's whatever the medical term was, it can be fixed. So I contacted him, and he said, yes, there's a hereditary thing there. That prompted the deacons to rally around again, and we have opened up an eye clinic, a free eye clinic there, where it only costs $500, where the surgery here would be thousands, $500 to have this eye situation fixed. And over the past few years, we've made over 500 surgeries happen to where their vision was corrected, where they would not be able to see correctly, or they're having problems in school and whatnot.
All
So-
because of your efforts.
Because of the, yes.
These problems would not have been
No,
addressed
because he
otherwise.
brings the suggestions, and I said, okay, let me see. I first asked the question, when he said the eye surgery, I'm thinking of the U.S., how expensive
Right.
is this? And he said, well, it's $500. I thought, well, I think we could do that. And yeah, so we've done 500 over the past years. So from there, again, he will contact us. This Christmas, for example, he had 120 widows. Can we help with food? Well, if you read the book of Acts, chapter 6, that's where the deacons come from. What were we called to do? To provide basic needs for widows and orphans. So, again, I sent the message out, and we were able to buy food that would last a few months for 120 widows over there, which is just amazing. Mm-hmm. Now, Father is never at a loss for requests, ever. He needs this or he needs that. He then introduced us to what are called the brickyard children. Mm-hmm. Now, the families over there, if they need money, we would just use our charge card. I don't know what the system is there, but they borrow money, like from the government or whatever, however they get it. Mm. They're never going to pay that back, ever. They then get assigned to the brickyards, where they must make bricks, which pays down their debt.
Okay.
They have to make 1,500 bricks to get $1.75. So the whole family works in the brickyards. Little kids, tiny little kids working in the brickyards.
Unimaginable situations.
Unimaginable.
If that was happening here, we'd be mortified.
I mean, when he sent me pictures, I could not believe it. So then he sent me a note, not a note, I spoke to him, and he said, well, this was a few months ago, it was like 118 degrees there during the day, and the little children had no shoes. So they're walking on this dry mud, dirt, to make bricks. So again, we bought them shoes. Mm-hmm. So they got shoes. They had a persecution there, which seems to be constant, and the radicals went into the Christian community and they destroyed about 80 homes. Oh, no, it was 80 churches, I'm sorry, and 400 homes. And the people were living now in the fields, afraid to go back to the homes. So when Father contacted me, the government wouldn't let them in yet, but when they did let them in, because of the money we had raised, he was one of the first ones to be able to get in there and started feeding the families. And so he was feeding breakfast and dinner each day to 800 families. And we were providing that for him. Then some children arrived on his doorstep, the ones whose parents had been killed. And so he found an empty building in order to give them housing. And he has, I think it's 25, I think 15 of them have no parents, and 10 of them, the parents sent them to him because they can't afford to keep them at home. So he found this empty building, and we raised money so they can paint, put windows, there were no windows, have it protected and whatnot. So now the children have a home, a place to stay, where they can sleep, they get food, we've bought them clothing, whatever they need. As I said, he sends me a list periodically as to what they need, and it's always clothing and food and medicine. They've never asked for anything frivolous. Like at Christmas time, I said, what can we do for Christmas? They don't want toys,
right.
They want clothes. So again, we have worked very, very hard to continue to supply this. So right now we're doing eye surgery. We have they call it a hostel, but it's really an orphanage set up there. Father visits the homes, which are nothing like homes here. Absolutely nothing. I can't even describe it. Actually, if people go to the St. Benedict's website, you'll see some pictures that we post there from time to time. Right. And he goes there to make sure they have their medicine and whatever else they need to, stay healthy. Last month he contacted me and he said he would need like $30 a month for a man who needed oxygen to live. Okay, so again, as you said before, when we put it into the proper perspective, $30 for us is
right.
That's breakfast here.
The beauty of what you're doing is you have formed such a personal connection with these individuals, a world away. That's what's remarkable. Through modern technology, you've been able to do that, and you've really been able to see the impact of what you're doing. You're first able to see the need, and then see the impact of what you're doing, and the great appreciation, what it means to those people. I mean, it's a really beautiful thing. And I know that this means a lot to you personally. You know, this past summer we had a day in Loretto in which we highlighted many of the missionary outreach efforts in our diocese, and you were one of those who spoke. And you know, I don't think I'm speaking out of school here because you spoke in front of people. You were emotional.
Yes. Yeah.
It means so much to you. Talk to us about why this is so personal and it means so much to you.
Well, as I said, initially when I started getting these requests, you have to be careful. As clergy, you get requests all the time for whatever, you know. And I always make sure that we screen them really well. And so initially, when we started getting them, it was the rosaries and what are you going to do? It's rosaries. And they would send me pictures of giving out the rosaries. When Father got into the picture, I felt I had a connection there. Yeah. Somebody that I could rely on, that whatever we send or do, it's going to happen. So that was the first connection. Right. My wife, Nancy, got very, very involved in this. As a matter of fact, anyone that knew her, she passed away a year ago, but anybody that knew her knew that she was a behind-the-scenes person. And she was really behind programs for the children, to the point where they've sent me pictures the past 4 or 5 months with the holidays coming and whatnot. There have been masses all over Pakistan for Nancy. All over, and they send me pictures with all the kids. They know her.
It was like losing their mom.
Yes, they call her Sister Nancy.
Yeah.
Okay, and as a matter of fact, with the Brickyard children, they know her as Sister Nancy. But she was behind the scenes with that, so it became very, very personal. There was no question. And when the kids would come on at night with their signs, thank you, Deacon Michael, thank you, the deacons. You know, how can you not? You just feel a part of it, you know. Sure. And then there's one family that we've helped who, again, very initially, their child was born with a heart defect, which, because it wasn't caught fast, unfortunately, the baby died at 16 months. Well, the deacons we got that information when we were on retreat one year, and there was no question. The diaconate rallied around that right away. And we were with that family. We still are with them, but we were with that family right until the time that the baby died. And I remember the night that I got a text from him, and he said, "I will let you know when we're having the funeral." Well, I thought he meant, you know, that just whatever time, whatever day. No, he meant I was attending it, because it was 11:30 at night for me. And so my computer came on, and they were there. So it's the Catholic priest was there reading the rite in Urdu, which is their language. And I was responding and reading in English. And we did the funeral right there with the whole village there. I mean, that was real
powerful.
Just power. Just I was stunned. It was really, really powerful. So they have a boy, Chris, who's Chris, I believe, is 8 now, I think. And the parents spoke to me and said that in Pakistan, Chris would not get an education. They can't afford it at all. As a matter of fact, his father is a street sweeper, I think, or something like that. And so they said, "Can you help send him to school?" So how much is it? How much is the tuition? You know, the minute they say tuition, again, it's $200 a month. Well, I just got his report card yesterday. Straight A student.
Wow.
Straight A student. Gets better grades in English than he does in Urdu. Okay. And every Saturday I have a Bible study at 9:30 to 11:30. The family plugs into Zoom and attends the Bible study with us. So all of our Bible study people know them, and they're learning English. Yeah. And so we are their family.
It's amazing.
You know, we're personally plugged into them. You know, and so again, whenever they've needed things, and I mean, Chris is amazing. Chris speaks very good English. As I said, I just saw his report card. He's a very, very good student, and they call us, the St. Benedict people, and we also have people from other parishes, by the way, not just St. Benedict, and even other dioceses that contribute to this. We are their angels, because to keep their daughter alive, they sold everything, right down to pots and pans, forks and knives, everything. And Nancy was the one that picked up on this, because when we were talking to them one night, it looked like they were living in a cave somewhere. We couldn't tell, but you don't want to say anything, you know. So we said, like, well, where are you living? Well, they were living in some room, you know, that they were able to get, and that's all they had. Well, the diaconate, again, rolled up its sleeves. And again, you have to keep in mind the costs there are different than here. And I want to say it's probably 3 years now. On Christmas Eve, I was able to call them and tell them we had raised enough money to build them a house. And we contacted a contractor there, and they now live in their own house that's totally paid for.
Yeah.
which they never, I mean, they just can't believe that this is how they're living. That was the hearts of the diaconate and the people that contribute to this program. Because it's, again, seeing it in real time is totally different than just seeing a poster.
Right.
Of some kids holding a food bowl or whatever.
Well, it's become so personal. You know, I think in society, like I said, people want to do good things, but it's become so just matter of fact. No one really makes a connection with the individuals they're helping.
That's correct.
And I think that's really the difference. When you know the people, you see the outcomes, you feel the connection and you just want to continue to be part of their lives. You know, it's really not just about writing checks. It's about walking with them on their journey and knowing that you've made their life better.
Yep.
You know, because when you hear some of what you've been describing, boy, we have no reason to ever complain in this country.
No, it's a shocker.
You know, yes,
shocker.
we have challenges and frustrations and ups and downs, but boy, we are blessed.
The beauty of it is, you'll see, I'll get I've posted some of these on St. Benedict's website, and I've sent you some too. You see pictures where the kids, beautiful eyes, beautiful kids, very sad looking.
Yeah.
And then you see the next picture where we bought them shoes.
Yeah.
And they're so happy. And they're singing and whatever. You see that in real time. You know that here they're up in the brickyards, which is an awful place to be. It's just as exactly as it sounds. It's the brickyards. Yeah. And well, the first time I saw that, it reminded me of some of the Old Testament movies you saw where the Israelites were making bricks, putting mud in the form. That's exactly. It was the same thing. That they're packing mud and straw into these forms.
And these are children.
These are children.
Yeah.
These are 3 years old, 4 years old,
yeah,
4 years old, you know, and they have a goal of, if you make $1,500, the family gets $1.75.
Yeah.
When the village was attacked by the radicals and destroyed, I mean destroyed, and it was because of something that somebody said something against what their belief system is, and they went in and just literally destroyed 800 homes, destroyed 40 churches, pictures of tabernacles thrown out in the street. Sacred vessels thrown out in the street, the sacred books that we use at Mass and whatnot burned. And that's today, happening today, you know.
Again, we take so much for granted.
We do, and we don't really realize.
Yeah.
And then they couldn't go back. They were living in when I say living in the fields, picture a cornfield, and the families are in the cornfield because they're afraid to go back into the...
Yeah, everything you are telling us, it is literal. It's not an exaggeration.
No.
Like,
it's not.
They're literally in the fields.
They're literally in the fields.
Children are literally working in brickyards.
That's correct.
Etc. I mean,
and when they did go home,
the worst of the worst situation.
When they did go home, if they had a stove or a refrigerator, it's gone.
Yeah.
They took it. So they went home to like shells of houses. And that's happening right now today.
What can others do to learn more about this and help you in this mission?
The first thing I tell people to do is to visit the St. Benedict Church website. That's number one.
Right.
Because we post there so they can see it. And there are stories that we post there and whatnot. And then there's information as to how they can connect with me directly to make a contribution if they wish to do so.
Right.
And the contribution will be made out to St. Benedict Church, marked for the foreign missions.
Right.
That will come into me, and my office takes care of processing that, giving them a letter for taxes if they need whatever that is.
Congratulations to you.
Thank you.
And again, I know how personal this is to you and how much your heart is touched by every interaction you have with them, and how much your heart is touched when you see how grateful they are for just the littlest things that you and your brother deacons have been able to provide them. So thank you for all you do.
Thank you.
Keep us posted, and let's just hope it continues to blossom and we are helping our brothers and sisters a world away.
Thank you, Tony. Really appreciate it.
Sure.
It's good talking to you.
Proclaim is brought to you by the Independent Catholic Foundation, UPMC Altoona, and the generous support of the Catholic Ministries Drive.
The Independent Catholic Foundation has become the largest charitable foundation in Central PA, with investments aligned according to the ethical, moral, and social teachings of the Catholic Church. Our endowments produce nearly $2 million in financial aid for local parishes, schools, ministries, and cemeteries. To learn more about the Independent Catholic Foundation, call or visit us online. Entrust your legacy with the Independent Catholic Foundation.
Well, the diocese is mourning the passing of a deacon. Deacon Thaddeus Ted Janisco passed on January 8th. He was ordained a deacon of Altoona-Johnstown in 1995 and served at various parishes, including St. Casimir Parish in Johnstown, Holy Family Parish in Hooversville, and St. Mary and St. John Cantus parishes in Winburn. He was most recently assigned to St. Elizabeth Ann Seton Parish in Winburn. Well, as the diocese continues celebrating its 125th anniversary this year, our diocesan social media will mark the occasion with 125 days of photos of people and places from around the diocese over the years. Via the diocesan Facebook and Instagram, you can stroll down memory lane with us each day with photos like these, beginning this Thursday, January 22nd, and continuing through the actual anniversary of the diocese on May 27th. Again, it all starts this Thursday on Facebook and Instagram. We're just a week away from the start of one of the best times of the year here in the Diocese of Altoona-Johnstown. Catholic Schools Week 2026 begins next Sunday, January 25th, and continues through January 31st. The theme is Catholic Schools United in Faith and Community. Catholic schools throughout the diocese will celebrate with special masses, open houses, and plenty of unique educational and recreational opportunities. Next Sunday on Proclaim, the show will be devoted to celebrating the blessing of Catholic education here in Altoona-Johnstown. Join us. Well, that does it for this edition of Proclaim for Sunday, January 18th, 2026. I'm Tony DeGaulle. We close the show today with the launch of a new feature here on Proclaim TV. As you know, the diocese, as I mentioned earlier, is celebrating its 125th anniversary this year. It's a good opportunity to highlight the many blessings in our diocesan church, and that includes the gifted organists who enhance our worship with beautiful music. Each month, we're going to feature a different organist, and today we begin our series with Mary Villani at Sacred Heart Parish in Altoona. Mary has come full circle as a Catholic musician. She began playing as a student at Sacred Heart Elementary School and is now an organist at the parish. She also plays with the Altoona Symphony Orchestra and with other local arts organizations. Enjoy Mary's music and the beauty of Sacred Heart Church.
Thank you for watching Proclaim. Stay up to date with the latest diocesan news and information anytime by visiting the Proclaim e-news site at proclaim.dioceseaj.org. While you're there, sign up for email updates by clicking on the e-news tab in the upper right. You can also visit the Diocese of Altoona-Johnstown website at dioceseaj.org. Don't forget to like the Diocese of Altoona-Johnstown on Facebook. Stay tuned for the Proclaim TV Mass live from St. John Galbert Cathedral in Johnstown, brought to you by the Independent Catholic Foundation and the generous support of the Catholic Ministries Drive.